What does it take to be a successful woman in a male-dominated industry? Meet Rayanne Morris, who is the general manager at Kenny Ross Ford. She started selling cars when she was only 15 years old at her uncle's used car lot and worked her way all the way up to the general manager of a highly successful store. And today she's going to share with us her secrets and inside tips on how she was able to make it happen in a male-dominated industry. Hey, thanks so much for being on the show, Rayanne.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
So you work at Kenny Ross Ford in like the Irwin area, right? Is
Yes.
that Irwin?
Yes. Technically, they refer to it as Adamsburg, but it is Irwin.
Which is crazy because to anyone listening, it's actually right by my house. And a mutual friend of ours, Josh, who was actually on the podcast not too long ago, said, hey, if you want somebody like with a ton of energy and that's just crushing it in car sales as a manager, you got to reach out to this girl, Rayanne. She's part of my automotive group. I said, yeah, great. Where's she at? He goes, Kenny Ross Ford. I go, really? That's like a pretty big automotive group out my way. I know they have a couple Ford stores, right?
Yep.
And I was like, which one? And he was like, let me text her and find out. And I was like, oh my God, it's like, that's actually closer to my house than where I work at.
Oh, well, so then we could talk after this.
Yeah. Improvement thing after this. You know what I found really interesting though, is when I asked you just your brief background on your car sales history. You said you started at you say your father or your uncle?
And my uncle. My uncle. Yes.
15 years old.
Yes.
And, I have something funny to say about that too. I'll come back to it. But I just want to hear what that experience was like, how you even got into that, what you were doing.
Well, at first it was punishment to go into detail cars. And then after starting and going, he was taking me to all the big franchises, buying the wholesale cars. That was back in the day. You got to think about that was when I was 15 years old, when wholesalers were a thing. Yeah. So, I mean, he introduced me to this life and started out at 15 detailing cars. He wouldn't let me do anything else. He treated me just like any other employee. I mean, I didn't get my breaks. If I was sitting down, and I still use this line as management, this isn't PennDOT. So, I mean, it really teaches you a lot when you start where I started, because you see the business as a whole. And he didn't give me any cherry picks. It wasn't that, well, now that, I was finally 18 and I could do the law contracts and things of that nature, that, oh, well, we're going to have her selling cars. No, it didn't happen like that. He made me learn the business from the ground up. From, in those smaller businesses, you learn how to do the complete deal. You do your own photos. You do your own descriptions. Yeah. You detail your own car. You do your own financing. You do your own title work. You cut your checks for the state, your payoff. So I started so young in following those processes, so that whenever I got into the franchise business, I still take those same quality aspects with me while I'm there. The other day, for example, everybody was spazzing out because when do you see a GM? I had my lot attendant. I needed my delivery bay cleaned off. Yeah. Well, he couldn't find the pressure washer. This kid is fantastic. I mean, I'm telling you, I got very fortunate with him. He brings a bucket of soap and just a broom, and he's out there. It was one of those 90-degree days that we had, because we don't have many of those, but it was hot. And so I go out and I grab the other one and I'm with him. And he's like, he calls me Ray. He's like, Ray, you don't have to do this. Go inside, please. Go inside. And I'm like, take a break, take a 5-minute TO. And he's like, I've never in my life have seen a GM just come out and when they see me doing something and help out. And I strive myself on that. And I think that's what has made me so successful today is my roots. I mean, think about it. At his one location, when I finally could sell cars, I was selling 30 to 35 cars a month, and I wasn't even 19 yet.
Wow. That's incredible.
Because I was me. And that's what I try to tell my employees. Like, you just got to be yourself. How you want to be treated, treat your clients that way. And I mean, hon, at that point, I didn't know what the hell I was doing, 18 years old, I had no clue. And it really did. It gave me my roots in with the auction houses, because he was a big wholesaler, and it really taught me the dealership as a whole, not just selling cars.
Yeah. And you were at 18 years old, not only selling 30 to 35 cars a month, but you were doing the entire deal front to back.
Front to back.
Wow.
the
You
whole 9 yards.
lived there. That's the story I lost.
Yeah, I lived there, and I was also going through college.
Yeah, you mentioned that you put yourself through college for a degree that you never ended up using.
Never used it a
And
day of my life. A day of my life. It's a conversation piece. But yeah, no. I flipped cars. I will never forget. I started with a '98 Volkswagen Jetta.
uh-huh.
That was the first car I started with for $2,000 is all I paid for it. And then I ended with a 370Z is where I ended. And I was
Wow.
able to pay off my college tuition. No student debt. And that was all buying off cars off Craigslist too, just so you know. He
That's
didn't
awesome.
cherry pick me and hand me cars that he didn't want.
Yeah.
It was all from just the old school Craigslist.
So you've always been a hustler since
Always.
day one. What drives that? Because a lot of people don't have that, and I think I'm in the same boat as you. And it's just like sometimes I don't get it. It's like what drives it for you?
For me, it's just a passion. It's just growing up in this business. I genuinely, I love it. I love the different aspects. Every day when we go to work, it's something different, right? A client, you're hearing somebody's story and you're helping somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just my personality. I will help anybody along the way. And when I get a client that comes in and they went to this dealership, they didn't even acknowledge me. And there I am as the GM. I greet everybody that comes through the door when I am available.
This episode is brought to you by OPENLANE, aka the world's best online dealer marketplace for used cars. OPENLANE brings you exclusive inventory, simple transactions, and better outcomes, all with the lowest fees in the industry. If you didn't already know, dealers absolutely love OPENLANE because they can find a massive selection of exclusive off-lease vehicles, rental, dealer trades, and more. Whatever you're trying to find, there's a good bet it's on OPENLANE. All of that is powered by OPENLANE's awesome inspections and super simple condition reports. And if you're looking to clear your lot and sell some inventory, OPENLANE also has you covered. Turn your vehicles into cash fast. With a nation network of serious buyers, most vehicles on OPENLANE sell in less than a day. Never bought or sold on OPENLANE? Sign up now and receive a $350 buy fee credit. You can learn more at openlane.com/easymode or click the link in the show notes below.
Yeah. And it just makes a difference. And I love helping people buying their first car or somebody that doesn't have, great credit. I love sitting down with them and explaining to them how they could. I always explain to them that I'm not a financial advisor or an attorney. However, these are the steps that you could take to, increase your credit score. I did that with a friend of mine. I mean, she's another one. She has 2 kids, bust her ass. She works in the ER. So her she went through a divorce. Credit was terrible. And she needed a new car. And she comes to me and she's like, "Can you help me?" And I said, "Yeah, absolutely." So we went over everything, rolled over some of her debt into her new car loan. And today she has a 750 credit score and she sends me her alerts just so that.
And, to anyone listening, you didn't just help her buy a car. You didn't just help her get her credit up. You helped her save hundreds of thousands of dollars over the rest of her life.
Yes.
Whether she goes for a mortgage or a credit card or another auto loan, she's going to save hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that's the importance of a good credit score.
And that is my drive. I just genuinely love to help people.
Yeah. No, I absolutely love it. I love that you're not afraid to not only clean a car if you have to, but be involved in all these different situations. I mean, some dealerships struggle to get a manager to, go say hi to a customer, which is crazy. I've dealt with it in my career. Like, "Hey, can you help me out?" And they don't even want to get off their butt.
Yeah.
And here you are greeting every customer, sitting down with them, helping them with their credit and cleaning cars.
And just explaining to them. I mean, so I am one of those car people where my email is on my phone. So the minute if I get a customer who sends, even on a Sunday, I won't forget this story. This recently just happened. We sold him a Black Widow and it was late at night on a Saturday. So the vehicle wasn't detailed properly for him.
Right. Yeah,
so he sends over an email on the Sunday morning. Well, what do?
Email him back.
Oh no, hon, I call him.
Oh, you called him?
I called him and I'm like, "Listen, I am so sorry." I said, "It was late at night. It was an 8:00 delivery. I do apologize." I said, "Here's what I'm going to do." So I go in the morning, I grab a loaner, I take it myself personally to his place of employment and I switch out the cars. I bring his car back, I detail it and make sure I fill it up with gasket. And then I personally took it back to him. And it just goes a long way.
And that's customer service. And, you know, a lot of people don't get that those little things and just taking care of the client are what's so important in
Yeah.
today's business. I mean, a lot of these young guys and gals don't get it. I had a sales guy yesterday. It all worked out, but I almost killed him. He goes, "Hey, Russ, I got a customer." And I'm not going to name drop who this customer is, but he's extremely famous in the Pittsburgh area. He goes, "He's coming at 3:30. You know, the appointment coordinator set his appointment. He was with me yesterday. He's coming back. I'm out of here at 5. Can you take him?" I go, "Huh?" "Hey, what do you mean?" I go, "Yeah, I'll take him, but you ain't getting half a deal." He goes, "Well, I don't want to take him and then have to stay late." And blah, blah, blah. I was like, "Dude,
Yeah.
just take the customer." He goes, "All right, I'll take him." But when he walks in the door, I'm telling him I'm leaving at 5. "Why would you do that?" I go,
Yeah.
what if you sell him the car and he says he wants to come back and pick it up tomorrow and you're out of here on time? Or if you sell the car, I'll help you, dude, but I'm not going to let you just sit over there for an hour and a half and do nothing for half a deal. That's not how this works. Like, if you got something extremely important to do, you got a doctor's appointment,
I get it.
you're going to go propose to your girl. That's one thing, but that's not how this works.
Yeah. Well,
Ends up
I
taking the
actually,
customer and sells the car, and they're literally out of there in under an hour and a half.
yeah,
And I was like, dude, you can't stress about that stuff.
I actually did away with half deals for that reason.
A lot of dealers are going that way.
Mhm.
I noticed that. It's a touchy subject, but I'm not totally against it.
Yeah, no, I get it when there's an emergency, but not because your scheduled day, your early day out is at 5, but you made an appointment at 5. That doesn't constitute for a half of a deal.
How
You
is that
know?
going over with your sales team? I know I rarely take half deals because I'm hungry. And if
Yeah.
I had one sales guy, he just started, and I had 3 customers, and a 4th came in, and he took it. I said, "Don't ever do that again, man. I'm not
Don't
trying."
ever touch my customers.
Yeah. I just figured there's no way you could do 4. I said, "I can. Just
Oh, yeah.
it's not a big deal. It's fine."
My guys actually they responded well to it because here were the problems that we were having in regards to so you made your delivery appointment for 5 and you know you leave at 5 on that day and then somebody else was doing the delivery process. Well, your client the distaste because you're not the one going over the vehicle with them.
Yeah.
And then when in regards to CSI and tracking, I had a couple 2-3 issues with well, you know, everything went great until the delivery process.
Yeah.
So then who do you hold accountable there?
Yeah, and then and depending how you punch it, and maybe the Ford's name, salesman A gets the punch, salesman B got the bad review, but it reflects on
But if
salesman A.
yeah, it was just so much. So we had a discussion about it. My guys really didn't give me any pushback. The ones that did were the ones who did their scheduled deliveries, but guess who doesn't do that anymore?
Yeah,
They're staying. They're staying to deliver the car. And they're making their appointments, around their schedule too, but it's not how it was previously before because I had half deals all over the place and trying to dig in. Like I said, I'm real big into holding people accountable. And if I didn't know who did what, it was really hard to hold accountable.
yeah. I found some of the salesmen that don't sell a ton of cars don't respect their schedule, which I get. So if you have no appointments on a Saturday, it's really tough to say what I would say is hey, to respect your time, I need you to come in at a certain time. Can I pencil you in for 9:15? Does that sound fair? I have an opening. So if you have no appointments, I can see why some of these guys say, yeah, just come in whenever. I'm trying to, even though I'm not a manager, which I'm not, I try to help my young guys. I'm like, dude, get them to commit to a time. Don't roll with the I'll be there between 12 and 3. I always tell people, hey, I don't mind waiting for you, but I definitely don't want you waiting on me. Can you be this time?
Yeah, I do with the sales training. We do a VIP. I call it the VIP appointment. So when you're calling and reaching out for somebody, you explain to them the slots that you have available, what time works best for you for the VIP. Now, it's just not words. I actually do offer a VIP. So I'll do a 2-year in-house maintenance package or things of that nature whenever they're a VIP client.
That's nice. No, I like it.
Yeah. It's not that I'm just tricking you with words. And I've explained that. I had this one lady who came in and she hugged me and she was like, I'm just giving hugs out today, but I just want to let you know you're the first dealership that actually you committed to what you were saying. You told me that with the VIP appointment, I would get X, Y, and Z. And I thought when I came here that it was just going to be
a load
bullshit.
Of crap.
Yeah.
No, I really like that idea. It's pretty interesting. I'm sure your appointments showing that percentage has risen.
Yes.
Customer satisfaction's higher, and that ROI has to be there
Yeah, because it's in-house. So that gives my opportunity for my service department to obtain that client and to be able to upsell.
I love that. And I want to switch gears here for a second, and I'm sure you get this all the time, but being a woman in the car industry, you're part of the minority, and I do see it growing. And I kind of have two takes on this. I'm sure when you started, now obviously you were selling 30 to 35 cars, but being a young female there might have been some challenges at the beginning. What was that like? What advice would you give to any other young females that are in this business that is male dominated? Maybe not even from the customers. Because I think in today's day and age, the customers aren't going to give you a ton of flack. There's always that guy. But I do think from the workforce, there could still be a stigma that, women get walked over in this business today.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I first started into the franchise, they put me into finance is where my first job was. And I was always told as a female that that's where my career would end because I am a female and that's where females go. And I said, well, I'm going to prove everybody wrong. So once, we started spinning paper, my numbers, I was at $2,800 to $3,200 a copy in F&I. They knew my background in used cars. So then they were like, I was doing a couple of different things at this previous dealership. So I was doing their used cars and F&I and training, sales, and the desk. So then once it got to that point of just figuring it out and figuring out what motivates people to say some of the things that they say. It hasn't been an easy journey by any means. I have to be on my A game every single day.
Because if you mess up, and I mean this politely, but if you mess up, you will be judged way
harder. Yes.
Than a man would. It's just the way it goes.
Yes. You have to have all of your ducks in line. So every morning when I do my meetings or when I'm doing a sit down or even when I'm calling a client, I have everything in line that, I have their issue of concern. I have this, I have that. And to gain the respect of your fellow employees is that you have to put your foot down and that you don't tolerate the certain behaviors. I learned that earlier in my career. I put one person in their place. Once again, like I was telling you, how I will never be anything more than just in finance because that's where the women work in this industry. Yeah. Well, guess who called me for a job?
That guy.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I said, I don't think that's going to work. I said, how do you still feel about women being in charge in the car business? And he didn't say anything to me.
You were waiting your entire life to pull that line out.
Yeah. I mean, it is. It's definitely, it's a challenge, but you hold your people accountable the same way. And women in this business can be very successful, but you have to be thick-skinned and you can't let people walk all over you. And you will get that pushback of, oh, well, she's in a bad mood. She's this, she's that today. No, it's not that you're in a bad, you can't take what they say personal.
Yeah.
Because if I did, I'd be in the corner crying every day,
So you are what is your role with Kenny Ross?
So I am the general manager of the Ford store.
Of the entire store, front and
back. Front and back. Yep.
So at the end of the day, whatever that store does in sales, parts, and service, I don't know if you guys have a body.
And collision.
You give a body shop.
Yep.
It all falls on you, whether good or bad.
Yes.
What is that? Is this your first time doing that?
Yes. As a general manager, yes.
And what is the automotive group that is backing that right now? I forget their name.
It's Atlantic Automotive Coast.
Atlantic Automotive. Yeah. Great. So you were in finance for them?
No. That was earlier in my career.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did you get involved with Atlantic Automotive and work your way up to GM?
So, funny story. I took some time out of the car business and I worked for a local auction house. My grandmother, she had stage 4 and there was no way of being in the car business and taking care of her at the same time. But I still love the car business. That's all I know. So I worked for the auction house for about a year. And I'll never forget walking this was Kenny Ross under previous ownership. I walked in there and I had no idea who anybody was, just the managers. And I said, boys, who's putting the numbers on these trades? I said, I think Helen Keller could hit them better. And the CFO was right beside me. And I didn't know. And so he brought me into his office and he's like, do you want a job? And I said, listen, I got out of the car business. My grandmother's sick. I said, this is her last, probably month that I have. I said, but when something happens, you'll be the first I'll give a call to. He's like, no, I need you now. And I'm like, all right. So we sit down, we go over the pay plans, we go back and forth. I was indecisive because I had family things that was going on at that time. I take the job as just the used car manager for the Kenny Ross Chevy store. Mm-hmm. It was just used car manager. They were selling 40 used cars and 50 new cars. After I figured out their processes, their policies, their procedures, who did what, changed a couple, 2-3 things, I had that store doing 125 used cars and 100 new cars. So then they promoted me.
That's incredible. That's a big increase. That's a lot of money made.
So they promoted me into the used car director role. So that was when Kenny Ross had, I think we had 8 or 10 stores then. So I was the used car director and the used car manager of the Chevy store. Mm-hmm. So then I got another promotion to general sales manager of the Chevy store and still had the used car director hat on. Yeah. And we went through the buy sell with Atlantic Automotive Coast. And unfortunately, we lost the Chevy store. Yeah. So they gave me the role of, what was I? The director of sales is what my role was. But I'm not one for titles. For the group. Yeah.
Wow.
For up here in PA. But like I told you before, people ask me, so tell me a little bit about your roles and responsibilities when you were the director of sales. I said anything that was needed was my responsibilities. If we had issues in regards to funding with deals, auctions, I ran all of our auction cars for the whole group. And just titling questions, financing questions, anything that was needed, CDK questions. I mean, that was my role.
Wow.
And I love it.
And then how did you get the general manager role at Ford? When did that come about?
That came in December of just this year. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what kind of numbers were they doing when you came in?
When I came in, the store, they were doing well. They really were. The employer, some things changed with the employees. The desk changed. They went through a couple people. And I think they just wanted that new, fresh blood going in.
Yeah.
And then there I was. I just graduated out of dealer school. And I was on them because my goal was to be in Miami. So they knew that, because I told them, I said, guys, I want to be in Miami. I want to be a GM, or I want to be in Miami. So then they gave me the Ford store.
So your next step is to be a GM in Miami?
Yes. That is the goal.
How far off do you think that is?
I'm going to probably say about 2 years.
2 years?
Mm-hmm.
Someone retiring, or you just know something's going to open up?
Well, I'm hopeful in 2 years. We keep growing. My man keeps buying stores left and right. I mean, he is a really good operator and a person. And that's something that I always look at when I'm interviewing somebody, like, what are your core values? I know that you know how to sell cars. I know that you know how to talk to somebody, but I want to know what you do, Russ. Like, what do you do for fun? Yeah. What inspires you? Because if I know that from the gate, what inspires you? So some people prefer time off. Some people prefer spiffs. So if I know that right from the gate, I know what motivates you. Yeah, and so they know that my motivation is got to get these sales up. You get these sales up and you get the right people in place. Miami's all yours.
Yeah, a lot of car sales interviews go like this. You have a heartbeat? Can you pass a background test? Can you pass a drug test? You could fail for a couple things, just not the hard stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I've also changed that at my store too. I mean, I really do believe with going into, with the EVs coming on board, that I need more people who are more tech savvy. So what I have been doing is I hired the other day a pharmacy technician. He has no background in car sales, so he has no idea about e-leads, about the different systems that we have. So what I do is for instead of that 60 days, having him go pull up a car for a salesperson, having him do this, or just shadow and be in the background, I put them in my BDC department.
That's smart. That's extremely smart.
Because then after that, we have our sit down, after the first 30 days. How do you feel? Are you comfortable? What do you need? And then we focus on the things that they need. Then we sit back again in the day 60 And I ask them, how do you feel? Here's your phone calls that you've been making. Here's your emails. Here's your appointment counts. And we'll talk. Are you ready to go onto the sales floor? Because I've seen it so many times where we hire somebody, if you have a pulse, and,
Yeah.
and they last maybe a week, and then they're out the door. You don't even know where they went.
Yeah, they always go to lunch and don't come back.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, the lunch, you don't come back. Yeah. But if you start, I always tell people, like, to build the house, you need the foundation. And the foundation in this business is the people.
Yeah.
So anybody, I'm not saying the car business is for everybody, but if you start at the right steps, you can definitely see what position is best for you. A lot of people fail to realize how many businesses are inside of the car business. Think about it. Yeah. Do you think that anybody else knows that's not inside of the car business?
No, I have no idea.
Yeah. They think it's just selling cars.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've even went as proactively as, if somebody doesn't work in sales, but you know what? I see an opportunity for them in, say my service department. I'll move somebody and I'll give people those opportunities to show me where their talent is so that they could be successful.
Yeah, if you could show up to a car dealership on time with a good attitude, there's a place for you somewhere.
Yeah.
It might not be answering phones. It might be title work, clerical work. It might be detailing. It could be, you could go to mechanic. You could be a warranty administrator. There's like a million jobs.
But a lot of people don't know. They don't. They think that it's just strictly, I got to sell cars or I'm not going to make it.
And a lot of people, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was thinking that the other day. We had a guy, and I don't want his name, within the last year or so, showed up to work on time every day, very good attitude, willing to learn, just could never be a salesman. I don't care what anyone says, it's just never going to work.
Yeah.
Maybe it would take him 10 years to really get it.
Right. That's a trait you either have or you don't.
I'm like, there got to be a place for this guy. And you know what? They just, for whatever reason, my dealership, we don't fire you. We'll just let you sell 2-3 cars till you quit. I don't know.
Yeah.
And that's what happened, And I just was like, there got to be a place for him. But, we just weren't proactive enough about it, because you take a paycheck home for 2-3 cars in a month, and then you're on,
right,
the next day,
Yeah.
Your life.
But so I do also, and I tell everybody about it, I do a SWOT review at the beginning of the month with all of my employees, their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And so I'll have you fill it out, and I'll have your goals from the month and where we landed. And then we sit there the first of the month, every month, I sit down with every single one of my employees and I ask them, so this is where we excelled, and we review it together. And at the end of every statement, I ask them, what can I do to make you better? What can I do so that we can hit your goals?
Mm-hmm. I love that. I kind of need that in my life. I kind of just show up to work and sell cars. I love my managers.
Yeah.
But none of that goes down.
Yeah.
All right, let's get after it, boys. Let's sell some cars this month.
Yeah.
There was no accountability, goal setting, tracking and charting, none of that. I do fairly well for myself. But I see some of the other guys struggling, and the owner's been involved recently trying to help with that. But it's really not his job.
Role. Yeah.
His role is to be sitting down with people, going one-on-one. How many ups are we going to get? What's your closing percentage? All that stuff. And it's great to see. That's why your stores that you have run and are going to continue to run are going to do so successful, because when you have that one-on-one with somebody and help them set the goal, well, you're a part of that goal now.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just their goal. That's Rayanne's goal too.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people in leadership just don't see that, don't understand.
And taking that time, 15 minutes. I do 15 minutes with each. Sometimes it runs over, but I make sure that it's 15 minutes with each person, all the way down to the lot attendant. I'll have him sit in my office and I'll ask him, how's everything going? What are you seeing? Is there anything I can help you with? And it just goes a long way, because then it shows that to your people that you care about them.
How has your team respond to that? You've been there for about 7 months now. Has there been some, I'm sure a lot of people are on board, has there been some pushback?
Some, yes. The older car guys, they definitely do. They don't understand why we're sitting in here. Every single month they'll sit there and say, I don't understand why you're making me do this. And I'm like, listen, we're a team. Everybody does it. And then we'll sit there and then we'll start laughing and joking around. Then they start loosening up. But it's the whole change thing. Everyone's afraid of that change. So then they push back on it because nobody, I mean, during my tenure, I've never had a manager sit me down at the beginning of the month and just ask me, what can I do for you?
Yeah, no, neither have I.
What have you seen? I mean, because listen, a room, it's the power of the room is what makes you successful. You're not going to be successful by one person. It's the room. And so I kind of took that and ran with it.
I just absolutely love that. I mean, I think you're the model of what an effective GM does is, you're looking after your team. You're not just waiting to the end of the month to see, how did we do? Let's look at the statement. Did we do good or bad? You're making sure the month goes right day one.
Yes.
So, I mean, how many cars are your top guys selling?
20.
And those guys have been there for about, some of them 30 years?
Some of them, yeah.
And they're just, I guess they're just not doing like proper follow-up, or like, I don't even know how it's possible.
I think it's all somewhat afraid of I guess the unknown. I don't know. With some of I really truly I wish I did have an answer because I'm always trying to work with them. And I'm like, guys, because Kenny Ross, I mean, we have a great name. We've been in business for years.
Yeah.
And we have the clients. And I'm like, guys, just reach out. Like there's sometimes where I'll sit in my office and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do some birthday calls, or I'm going to do this and reach out to my clients and just tell them that, hey, my name is Rayanne Morris. I'm the new general manager of the Kenny Ross Ford store. And I just personally wanted to call and thank you for your services with us.
Yeah.
Hey, and you get people back in the door. I had one the other day that said, you know what, honey, I have this recall. But people miss that.
Yeah, everyone thinks like follow-up needs to be this like every 90 days. Hey, Rayanne, it's Russ. You didn't forget about me. You got any referrals? You ready for a new car? Who's next? This, that, the other.
Right.
It doesn't need to be that. And, I've found with my social media that has been like the most effective follow-up because I'm just in front of people's faces like
every day.
Every single day. And I try to tell it to my new guys. I'm like, you don't have to be me. You don't have to post videos like I do, but it could just be pictures.
Yeah.
Cars. Or it might not even have anything to do with cars, but if you at least get people to follow you, then you're like friends with them. And then something happens, something comes up, and they see you on social media, and then they think of you. I mean, I've had a million phone calls. Hey, Russ, just saw your video. You're funny. Haha. But I was with my cousin, and they need a car. I gave her your number. She's going to call you soon.
Yeah.
It's not like I didn't really generate that by calling them. I just was doing what I
Now,
do.
why do you think that is, though? Why do you think that it's so hard to get people engaged in the social media aspect?
I really think people are afraid of embarrassing themselves. I think a lot of people don't want to fail. And, I say on social media, I'm like, and I'll tell you a funny story. I went out to a Toyota dealership to train them on social media, train the whole team on how I do what I do and how they can do the same thing. And I had one guy who was like, there's no way I can do this. I'm 35 years old. I'm from a farm. Like, I'm not posting videos. Like, come on, man, I'll help you. And he actually ended up being like this insanely funny guy.
Yeah.
Like, you could make funny videos. Like, you could be good at this. Like, you understand satire. You have good sarcasm. So first video he posts on TikTok gets like 100,000 views. And I helped him make the whole thing. But he kept going at it. And I said to him, which helped his confidence, I said, look, if you post this and get 0 views, that means 0 people saw it. That means there's nothing to be embarrassed about.
Right.
And if it gets a ton of views, you're just going to be happy you got all these views. It's like being a celebrity. So this was like a month ago. He has now posted over a couple of videos. One of them has over 1 million views. He sold at least 5 cars off TikTok already.
Oh, wow.
And this is a farm guy that was
And how good did that make you feel?
It was cool. I was
yeah.
In the back of my head, I'm like, I don't know if this guy's going to do this, but I'm here to help do it, And a couple other guys on the team, haven't found quite that success, but they're doing it. And I tell people, even if you did a Facebook page, Rayanne sells cars, and you just posted pictures of the customers you sold cars to, and you talked about specials and incentives and cool cars, trade-in of the day. Hey, we just got a car that Mrs. Jones traded in. one owner, 2014 Ford Escape, 30,000 miles. You won't believe it. Not going to last long. I'm sure somebody knows a car wants a car like this under 10 grand. Come get it. It's like, it's so easy. It's just like people don't, the hardest part is getting someone to do it. And once they see the success, it's like a drug. Because like this kid at that Toyota dealership, he posts every day. I mean, he posted more than I do right now because he's loving it. It's like a drug. But a lot of people can't get over that hurdle. And you almost got to like strong arm them into it, and it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. I mean, not so many people in the business just refuse to do social media, and it just blows my mind, especially when you see people that are doing it and killing it. Like, why wouldn't you?
Right.
If something else came out, if there was like another way, I would jump on it. I wouldn't even need to know anything about it. If they said, "Hey, there's this new thing, you can sell more cars from it." Okay, how do I do it? Tell me how. You're saying I can sell more cars? Sure.
Right. But I'm still, that's one of my hurdles is that I'm having now is I'm trying to get everybody involved in the social media and I'm getting pushback. I've even offered to pay the guys and I'm still getting pushback. And I'm like, guys, take just a walk around video at this point, but brand yourselves with all of your customers. You nailed it. Shaking hands, taking pictures with them in their new cars. It goes a long way.
It really does, and it's so easy to do. But I guess salesmen are always, and this, they're worried about the now and the next. But when they're thinking next, it's not like that. They're worried about the tangible next, the lot up, the phone call, the guy that walks out from service. They're not worried about like the unknown next, and that's what social media gives you is the unknown next. I mean, this month I probably sold, I think, 6 cars from TikTok to people I've never met in my life. But it's crazy because they come in and they know me. Like, they know who I am. They know all about me. I know nothing about them, but it makes the deal super easy because they already know, like, and trust me because I put myself out there.
Right.
And I just there's a couple guys at my dealership that could be good. They just don't do it. I don't know. You can't make the horse drink the water. You can only drag them to the water, but you can't
drag them. Yeah. Oh, I like that one. Drag them.
But I would try to get, if I was you, I would just try to find that one person who might be willing to do it. Just focus on them. And then there might be a little bit of like jealousy if they sell a car on Facebook, YouTube, or it doesn't matter where it's from. And then you might see some buy-in, but you need one person to be doing it right.
I have one guy. I do. I have one guy. I'll send you his video that we did, him and I, on the Lightning.
Okay.
Yeah. I think you'll dig it.
How old is he?
He's 21.
That's the perfect age.
He's young.
Okay. So he gets social media. How long has he been doing it for, the social media stuff?
Well, he was one of our quick lane guys, our technicians, and then we moved him into the sales side. And he is very successful for his age, and his work ethic is great.
And you saw the talent in him and you brought him out?
No, that was previous.
Okay, he was already there.
Yeah.
And how have you helped him get better?
We do our one-on-ones sometimes, today I don't know how to explain it, but with today you approach everybody differently. And with him, it's sitting with him, going over everything, giving him word tracks, teaching him how to be better. And I did get him out of his comfort shell by doing this video. And I mean, he nailed it. I mean, he's a photographer. He's excellent at it. Yeah. I mean, he really could take it to the next level.
I know. And it's crazy. I tell people this too. It's like, you don't even need to go viral to sell a lot of cars. I have a friend up in north of Philadelphia. His name's Frank Cranitti. He's the world's best Honda salesman. He has like 8,000 followers on Facebook, but he continuously sells over 100 cars a month because the people who are on his Facebook page live in his area and buy cars off him. He is like the mayor of his town when it comes to cars. Everyone goes to Frank.
Yeah.
So you don't need to be like ultra viral. You can just, if you could have 5,000 people on your Facebook page that like live in your area, buy cars from you, know people buy cars, that's enough to make a living. That's why I try to tell these guys, it's like, you don't have to be trying to go extremely viral, although it's fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's, of course, benefits to getting hundreds of thousands of followers and millions of views. There's of course benefits that not everyone needs to or has to take that route to break into that 25, 30 car a month territory, because if you're selling 15-ish now, I promise you can double that with social
You can
media.
double it. Yeah. The Ford calls him the backflip kid.
The
Because
backflip.
I sent the video to Ford, and that's what they call him, is the backflip kid. Wait till you see it. The video, I mean, it is. We shared it on our social media. I've gotten a lot of people who would send me text messages and say, "Man, that was a great video. He's crushing it." Just the video of the demo of the vehicle, and I really truly believe that if we can get more buy-ins on the social media, our guys would be able, like you said it best, pick up five to six extra cars. It would take them from 15 cars to the 20 cars.
Absolutely. I mean, look, I'm all over social media. And a really good friend of mine just yesterday brought his mom up to buy a car. And he said to me, he goes, dude, I don't even know what I was thinking. We were about to go buy a Lincoln from another dealership. And I know this guy extremely well. He said, we were literally leaving the house and your video popped up. And I went, Mom, we got to go see Russ. What are we doing? He's the Lincoln guy. And I would have never got that sale if I didn't post that video that day. And you don't know how many other of those deals. We've all had a friend or a family member buy a car. Oh, Rayanne, I wasn't even thinking of you. I forgot to go at the Ford store. Oh, wasn't even thinking of you. I should have came and gave you a shot. Oh, sorry. We'll get you on the next one. Okay, see you in 5 years. Great.
Right.
And that truly is the power of social media. I mean, our friends and family are buying cars. We need to be on their mind.
Now, how did you get into it? If you don't mind me asking, was it just one day?
No, this has been probably a 4.5-year journey. I started making like Lincoln reviews, and like that was cool, but that dried up really quick because we only had like 4 cars. So I did like my Lincoln Navigator, Aviator, Corsair, Nautilus review, and then I'm like, oh shit, what do I talk about now? I got nothing else to talk about. And I actually like stopped doing it for a little bit. Like that was YouTube. That was all I did. Some videos, and then like wasn't even getting that many views on YouTube. So I was like, I'm just whatever. I'm not gonna do this. Then COVID happened, and like it was like a weird like month and a half where like I was brought back as the only salesman, and we were busy, but like we were doing like 35, 40 cars, and I was doing them all myself. It was literally just me. But I was there all day, and it's still not a lot of cars, even doing them by yourself. So I started making TikToks just to kill time, and they just like started like growing and growing and growing and growing. And maybe it was I post 2 TikToks a week, then I was like a couple times, then it was like every day, and then I just started rolling with it. And I just kept going. Then I started posting on Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, just post everything. It's a lot of work. Like it's a tremendous amount of work. I tell people I have 2 full-time jobs. I truly do. I go in on a Saturday at 5 a.m. and I film till 8:30 a.m. That way I have a week's worth of content for Monday through Saturday of the next week. And then, sometimes I fill in those gaps, of course, too. And I'll just make videos real quick on the spot, depending if something pops in my head. So, I mean, it's not for everyone to do, but you don't have to take it. I'm extreme, and everyone has to be extreme,
Right.
I
do. I just want to get my team to do just a little bit.
I can come out and train them. There's a fee involved with that.
Oh, I knew there was going to be a fee. I'm right down the road. Come on.
Yeah, I can't train my competition.
Oh, come on.
I've given you enough free advice on this subject already. But this podcast isn't about me. It's about you. And I want to ask you. I would imagine your toughest challenge right now, and you mentioned this right before we hopped on and started recording this, is dealing with the COVID salesman. The guy who came in, was selling 10 cars a month, making 10 grand. And now they're selling 10 cars a month, making 4 grand. And I just made those numbers completely up, just to give people listening the examples of, what some car salesmen were making versus what they could be making now, maybe even less, maybe more. But for a lot of guys, it's less money and harder work for some people who started during COVID. How have you been trying to overcome that challenge?
So what I've been doing is every morning I do I call them a morning huddle, and either we'll go out in the middle of the showroom, and you'll laugh maybe, and I have a stress ball. So what we do is we all pass this ball, and I give everybody their time to speak, because in car sales, everybody wants to speak at the same time. So we'll all go around the room, and everybody will tell me like where they're at. And then the ones that I could tell that just throw the ball because they don't have anything to say, I know that I have some work to do. So I'll pull those employees in and we sit and we talk and we discuss. The SWOT is what has really helped me during the change from COVID to now,
Yeah.
because they know that I'm sitting there. They know that we're working on their strengths, opportunities, threats, and weaknesses. And it's really forming the team. I'll do different things to accommodate for them. Like we'll do fast starts, fast finishes,
Mhm.
and it really has brought the team. I think I've lost two people that got in during COVID that just got out now because the stress of, like, I'm real big into the phone calls. How many phone calls did you make today? How many
Yeah.
phone calls did you make today? Like you should know, right?
Yeah.
And we have this really cool system at work where we can go in and we can listen to the phone calls and see the phone calls.
That's nice.
But then the guys that are selling, just the 10 cars that during COVID, just say for numbers sake, we're making the 10 grand. And now they're making, we'll say 5, and they're complaining. Well, we go in and when we do our reviews, and I'm like, you only made for the whole month 5 phone calls. Well, I'm waiting for the up bus. And I'm like, those days are gone. People are educated with the internet. Your clients know that we are getting vehicles in, that there's not a shortage right now by any means. So you're going to have to call your clients and get them in the door. And it just seems like the two that we lost our opportunity with, I don't really think we lost that opportunity because we pay for those leads to come in and they're not being receptive to the leads. They're not calling their clients. So therefore, I feel like they were costing the company more money by having them sit there and do nothing and wait for that up bus to come in
Yeah.
versus then replacing them.
It's crazy. I'll work something till it's like dry.
Dry.
Russ, stop calling me. Okay. Have a good day. Thank you.
Yeah. Or you just work until, okay, this unit, and I'm sure you see this on your side. I have clients who still think they could lease a F-150 for $395
Yeah.
because that's what they could do prior to COVID. So we're overcoming those objections, but with giving as I refer to it as the VIP experience, clients see that. Clients see that, oh, wow, so I can call my salesman, Greg, and he could set up for a pickup and delivery, and I don't have to come into my service. Like, I've trained my guys for their closing on the benefits of why buy from us, so that we're that last impression of the amenities that we offer to our clients versus, okay, thanks for buying the car. I'll see you next time,
Yeah, no, and I think a lot of salesmen struggle too. Like, and I struggle with this sometimes too. But like, what a customer pays now doesn't dictate what they're willing to pay. So I've taken a ton of people out of leases. I just called a guy today, car he ordered. We were like 8 months ago. We were just like ordering anything. It didn't matter. Like we just wanted inventory.
Right.
So we order this guy. We don't do numbers. Really didn't know what the numbers were going to be. He pays like $650 now. I just called him. It's like $1180. I didn't want to make that phone call. It was like an awkward phone call. But I make it with confidence. Hey, great news, 3,000 down, do it signing. About $1180 a month. When did you want to come get it? And I'm thinking this dude's about to blow up on me. I'll pick it up Saturday. Are you available at 9:15? I said, yes, we are. I'll see you then.
And then you did the happy dance afterwards. You were like, yes.
I did a little happy dance. I had my manager print up a desk sheet. I said, let's go.
Yeah. Because those are the proud moments. But it happened because I'm assuming you stayed in contact with your client throughout the process.
We talked a lot.
You talked all the time. So you built that relationship. So when you build that relationship with your clients, they are going to pay more for the experience.
Correct.
They are.
And a lot of guys truly struggle to understand that we're more than just like a tour guide, and I think some guys struggle to get over that hump of just like, I'm just here to show them the car. Like, no, when you're with me, it's an experience. We're going to have fun.
The experience.
I'm gonna make you laugh. And forget about even the fun and making you laugh. Like, here's my cell phone number. I help every single customer. You want a service appointment? Call me. You have a problem? Call me. Everything gets worked through me. You want a car wash? Come see me before anyone grabs those keys, because I'm going to make sure I just walk back and hand it to the guy instead of hanging it on the board and putting you in fourth in line. Like, just work it all through me. I don't care how busy I am. I don't care if there's 2 customers in my office. I'll do it. Like, seriously.
Right. And that's what sets you apart from others.
Correct.
And then that's why you have your referrals and your repeats, because they know, because people today, I'm not saying they want easy, they want convenience. So for me personally, I like to deal with one person when I'm dealing with different business things. So if I'm going to call you, hey, Russ, I need an oil change, you're going to schedule my appointment for me and I'm not going to have to worry about it.
Correct.
And you're offering that to those people.
Yeah. And it's like really not that hard to do. You know what I mean? And especially like, if you're selling 50 cars, okay, maybe you need some help. But at 25, 30, I can honestly say it's not that hard to do.
Yeah.
With all the clients I have. And if you're selling 10 cars, I don't know why you wouldn't why you wouldn't bend over backwards for your customer. I'll bend over backwards. I won't bend over forwards, but I'll bend over backwards for any customer.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good one.
You can use that one. You can have that line.
Can I have that one?
You can have that one.
Oh.
Well, hey, I'm going to wrap us up here. Try to keep these under 45 minutes just because I'll talk all day. So I really appreciate you being on. We'll stay on after and chat a little bit, especially while these podcast downloads. But I want to just leave you with one final thought. I mean, why do you think anyone listening, especially a young female or male, it really doesn't matter, but maybe geared towards the woman just a little bit. Why would somebody even want to get in the car business?
Because the car business can change your life. It really, truly can. It's like I've said, I say it all the time. It's just not about selling cars. There's so much more to it. You provide for your family and you're helping others all at the same time. And you're helping other people succeed.
I love that answer. Short, sweet, to the point, very concise. Well, thanks so much for being on, Rayanne, for being
Rayanne.
Thank you so much, Rayanne, for being on the podcast. Appreciate you taking time out of your busy day. You're the general manager, so I know how busy you are. So I really appreciate you being on and just giving back to the community. To anyone else listening, if you want to be on the podcast, reach out to me. Any link in my bio, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, Facebook, TikTok, doesn't matter. You could be on my podcast. I'd love to have you on. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this episode. Thank you so much for watching.